What is up, you guys? The Fallout What If here, and today I'm going to do the what if of Deku. What if he had an Omni Sword Quirk, Part 2, and you guys, you guys were wondering what was going to happen for what if Deku was, the reincarnation of the God of War, and there's going to be a lot of drama in the family. But we're going to save that for later. Later. We're going to save that for later. Now, what happens is Deku, he goes to school. And everybody sees him. A lot of people know about who he is and what's his family. And a lot of girls are fangirling over him. Because Deku really doesn't, how do I say it? He doesn't care about, the fangirling at the moment. He is kind of curious about them, but right now he's thinking about himself and what he should do. Now, after a week of school, Deku has had to fight bullies. And he is losing. He's losing a lot. Deku has this weird mentality of, he can fight, but at the same time, he has a fear of just winning. He doesn't like winning because he kind of is scared of, being the strongest. He doesn't want to... hold on here. He doesn't want to be even the next head of the household. He's actually terrified. Even though he knows he has to do it, it scares him. And he has so many doubts on himself. So one day he goes to his grandfather, he is known as he is the feared, he is feared even by Izuku's father, which is technically Hisashi, which is Hisashi's dad. He fears his abilities because this man here has two quirks. Well, it's technically a half and half quirk. He has, let's see. Oh yeah, he has gravitational pull, or gravitation manipulation, and fear manipulation. So Deku's dad actually has his own room. And it actually has a lot of drawings and paintings and gold stuff. It's actually pretty much like a rich man's house inside of that room. But he sees his grandfather right there with a staff. And his staff is basically on his hand. And when Deku walks towards him, Deku sees his grandfather. And his grandfather, we're just going to call him Grandpa. Grandpa right here, Grandpa talks to Izuku. And he asks him he's asking him what's wrong. Izuku tells him that he's scared about, being the next head of the household. He's frightened. And Izuku says, I don't think I could be worthy of taking that title. Now, Grandpa asks him, why is he fearing something that is inevitable? And, Grandpa tells him he should be having fun right now and to not worry about, being the head of the household. He should worry about that when he's older. Deku says he doesn't know what to do. He feels like that everything's right now against him, and he just has it in his mind. This is when Grandpa talks to him and says, me and you are going to have a fight. And this is when Deku says, hold on here. Grandpa, I don't think that's necessarily a good idea. But this is when Grandpa just says, I'm going to summon one of my guards to tell everybody that there's going to be a fight now. And this is when Deku says, "Wait, but I don't think that's a good idea. I think I'll just, stop worrying about that now." And this is when Deku, his grandfather, basically uses manipulation, and Deku can't move as much. It's actually slowing him down. Deku's trying to use his quirk, but right now he's very tied down. So, when Izuku's grandfather tells him that running away with your tail between your legs, it's a sign of dishonor. And even though you know that for sure, you still do it. Why is that? Is it because you think that you're going to die from somebody? Is it because you think that it's so much of a burden to you? Do you think that you might not live up to everybody's expectations? Believe me, no one in the family has ever been the best leader. They've just been good enough to not let their people die and not to be hated. You, on the other hand, are probably going to be hated. And not only that, you're going to be shown that life isn't easy. But you're so young, though. I can't believe your father told you to become the next head of the household. You should have done it probably at the age of 15. But now you're going to be the next head of the household. You have to deal with it. Running away is no longer the issue. And this is when Deku is understanding him, but he still has that fear. It's still there, lingering. And this is when he gets up after his quirk is released. Deku now standing there, and basically his grandpa's right there next to him, and basically he's telling him, "Let's go for a walk." So they go for a walk, and everybody, or at least a lot of people in the branches, are there watching him. And this is when Deku says, "Wait, you're serious?" And grandfather said, "Yep, we're serious. I'm serious about this. Me and you have a fight right now." Give me a second here. Alright. So, this is Izuku's grandfather. I was going to use this one, but because he was so tall, and the whole fact that his sword is technically big, but it doesn't look like that, it's either that or this. So I'm going to use this one. Now, after Deku finds out about, his grandfather's abilities and what he can do, he technically actually tells him to walk, to go to one side of the ring while he goes on his side of the ring. Now, Deku summons his sword immediately because he knows about what's going to happen. And this is when this is when Grandpa gets, excited, saying, "I haven't fought anyone in the past 16 years. So you should be honored that I'm going to fight somebody as worthy as you." This is when Deku says, "I'm not worthy. I'm just a kid." And this is when Deku fights him. And this is when, the moment he gets towards him, he actually gets hit by gravity. So, after getting hit with gravity and him being knocked on the ground, Deku gets up. But this is when Grandpa says, "Aha! I see you're trying to get up, but he actually hits him with more gravity, and Deku's trying his hardest to try to get up. But this is when Deku uses Dark Shadow to push himself. And he says, well, Grandpa says, so you're using a quirk now. Alright. I guess I should be okay since I have my other quirk, but I'm going to now slash you. If you can't get up in the next 2 seconds, then I'm pretty much going to cut you down. And 2 seconds are up. This is when he actually blitzes him at fast speeds and is about to slash him, but Dark Shadow is right there protecting him. Grandpa is actually confused, so much so that he actually releases his quirk, and Deku says, "This is my chance." So he takes a hit he tries to take a hit off of him, but it failed. Deku sees that he's actually blocking him with another sword, which he's confused. He says, "Why do you have 2 swords?" And this is when his grandfather says, "Because I have a new ability, which some may get in the future, but I doubt that any of them would try. You, on the other hand, I see a lot of great potential within you." So he throws his sword down to the ground and shoots a freaking blast at Deku, causing him to see hallucinations and causing his eyes to go pitch black. And this is when he only sees himself. Now, while everybody else is doing this stuff, Inko is scared about what's going to happen, because she doesn't want her son to get hurt. But this is when freaking Hisashi holds her and says, "It's all right. He's not going to kill him, but he is going to have to bring him to realize. He's going to make him realize that he needs to do this on his own. None of us should even think about protecting him. This is a man versus another man. A fighter fighting another fighter. Let him decide his own fate." Now, Deku sees everything. He sees himself losing. He saw himself when he was little, when he didn't know he had a quirk. He sees hatred in himself. He's disappointed by the fact that he gave up. He didn't want to give up. He was just so scared of having someone disappointed in him. Deku looks down in shame, and he tries to bring himself up, but he can't. And this is when Deku's mind keeps rushing and telling itself that it can do it. He can do it. And he keeps going at this for a while. This is when Grandpa uses his gravity quirk, and basically Deku is face first hitting the floor, and he's actually saying that, "I'm sorry, Zuko. I now know that you're scared, and I understand that you're not going to probably be any successor for a while. But I can tell you one thing. You'll do it in the future, or probably not. But I at least have to cut you down on your back as a mark of you being so shameful, dishonoring the family name." This is when a lot of the families, like a lot of the people in the clan, were saying, "This sucks, and why is he just sitting there and just taking it?" And Tokoyami got a little upset. She doesn't want this to happen to him. And this is when she's about to actually jump, but freaking Deku's brother, Lee, goes behind her and just hit her with the back of his sword, saying, I know you do not like it, but you had to bear with us. She's on the ground right now, being carried and being placed back on her seat. And a lot of the people got upset with her, but a lot of them understood, while a few were thinking it's still dishonorable. So there's a little bit of tension right now in the family. But this is when Deku starts to realize that he needs to just get out of this reality of his. He doesn't want to be the head of the household yet. He wants to be somebody on his own. He doesn't want any of this. He's just a child. Why should he have to be burdened with the family name just right at the moment? Sure, he's not going to do it when he's older, but he wants to get stronger. He needs to get stronger. He needs to bring himself up. He shouldn't, call himself a failure. And this is when, hold on here. Let's see, gotta go back right here. Yeah, right there. So anyway, Deku gets, something wrong with him. And his own mind and his own conscience tells him that stay inside this bubble for a while. I'll deal with your grandfather. And this is when he says, who are you? And the person in there says, don't worry about me. Just worry about yourself. Alright, you pathetic weakling. I can't believe we're one and the same. But this is when Grandpa's about to slash him in the back. But then, he's actually gone. His grandfather doesn't know where he's at. But this is when he's using Lee's quirk, or his brother's quirk, which was sidestep. And he's actually right behind him. And he puts his blade on top of his grandfather's shoulder, and with this, he can't actually use his quirk without being cut down himself. This is when he's about to slash at Izuku, but Izuku dodges it. This is when the grandfather says, so, you finally decide to actually fight me on your own, huh? I'm proud of you. Now, we must fight until at least one of us gives up. So, this is when, before he even says another word after what he said, this is when Izuku is right there saying, you're talking to the head of the household now. With the future of the head of the household. You better show me some respect, old man. And this is when everybody's like, oh no. What did he just say? He's a little too, he's not strong enough to say that yet. And this is when he sees Izuku's eyes. And they're actually purple instead of green. And this is when grandfather says, you're not the same Izuku, are you? And Deku says, Deku's alter ego says, you're correct. I'm not him. I'm another version of him. One with pride, ego, with an ego, with the will to not give up. He's counting on me, and I'm using his body for a while. Because I can tell you right now, What he just did is stupid. He was giving up. He should take pride in the fact that me and him are one and the same. He should be grateful that me and him are one and the same. And this is when grandfather says, why are you saying this again? This is when he says, I don't know, but I decided one thing. I'm not going to give up. So either you back down, or I'm going to cut you down myself. This is when everybody is like, thinking to themselves, what's going to happen? Who's going to lose? Who's going to give up? Grandfather says, fine. You want to play this way? We'll play this way. And he starts shooting out his freaking gravitational force. But this is when Izuku, well, his alter ego, we're actually just going to call him Ego. That will be Izuku's, ego. It'll be like another Izuku right there. If sheesh. What I'm trying to say is, Ego is going to be Izuku's, other self. He is much more stronger because he's willing to fight back. He's much more faster and cunning. He's actually more egotistical. Thus the name Ego. And this is when Ego actually starts, slashing his sword on his grandfather. But he's not as strong as his grandfather. That's for sure. So Deku is trying to slash at him. Grandfather shoots out an energy blast and shoots him with that, fear manipulation. And this is when he says, so that's how you do it. Alright. I'll bite. He actually starts using his own fear manipulation and shoots it out of his palm and actually hits grandfather. But because he knows fear manipulation, he disperses it, and he doesn't actually get, he doesn't actually fear anything. But this is when Izuku's right behind him, and Deku just shoots out his gravitational attack, which is still, it still actually hits grandfather, and he's actually, trying to use his sword to, he uses his sword to, what is it called? Sheesh, hold on. Okay, he uses his sword to basically uses his sword to hold himself up. And Deku says, alright, if that's how you want to do it, then fine. And he's about to slash at, at grandfather, but grandfather shoots out his own gravitational pull, causing Deku to to fall down. This is when Deku tries to get up, but he too is actually, in his own gravitation. So these two are not giving up, but Deku picks himself up by sheer will and is saying, you may be strong, old man, but I'm getting better than you. And this is when he's actually pushing the gravity upwards, causing him to actually block his grandfather's gravitational force, and causing his grandfather to actually get up. This is when Deku swaps out both his gravitational quirk and his fear manipulation quirk, and still having Lee's quirk on it. So he's about to get ready for a stance, and grandfather gets ready for his own stance, and Deku just charges at him and is actually using his freaking sidestep quirk, actually lifting up his sword and doing a horizontal slash, But his grandfather actually dodges it and gets, well, the upper hand by slashing Deku on his chest, causing Deku to actually lose because he got cut, and now Deku, well, is no longer the winner or anything like that. So yeah, his grandfather won, and he says, "You may have a new ability. You may have a part of you that's strong now, but you're still inexperienced. Now, are you still the same Mizuku, or do I have to cut you down again?" And this is when Deku is basically back to his reality, or back to his actual body, and he's saying, "This hurts. Why am I on the ground? Why do I have blood on me? What's happening?" And this is when he says, "Yep, you're back to your old self." So, this is when Deku basically is getting carried by some medical staff, and his grandfather says, "Sorry, Izuku, but I couldn't tell you." So everybody leaves except for Hisashi, and Hisashi and him talk for a while, and Deku says, not Deku. Hisashi says, "So, what did you think? Do you think he has what it takes?" And his grandpa says, "Yes, he does have what it takes. He's more stronger than I anticipated." And this is when Hisashi sees a little bit of blood coming from, his father's stomach. And Hisashi says, "What's that?" And grandfather laughs and says, Well. Your son, my grandson, actually is better than I anticipated. But he has a long way to go. If we were to tell him right now that other thing that was controlling Izuku's body, he would have probably gotten a boost out of it, and probably gotten stronger and triumphed over me. Anyway, I need to heal myself. You see how your son's doing, alright?" This is when freaking Hisashi says, "Alright, give me a second here, people." So anyway, sorry about that. Now, Deku is in his room, and a familiar face comes by, and it's Tokoyami. She's actually, scared of the fact that, she heard about Deku's weird self. She didn't know what was happening with Deku at first. And when Deku heard about what he turned into, and what she heard as well, he was more scared of the fact that he turned into somebody strong and powerful. But at the same time, he was also fearing that he may be taking on a new form, taking on this personality that didn't care about what his grandfather wanted, didn't care about whether he was alright. It also felt like that he didn't care about his own safety. That's what puzzled Deku. He didn't care about nothing at that point. So Deku actually made it his mission to get strong. Sure, he knows that he's not going to like it, but if it meant that he didn't have to be this weird, cynical person that had no remorse for human life, then maybe it was probably for the best. Deku was crying, but Tokoyami was there, and Deku was grateful for that. Now, 2 years have gone by. Deku isn't himself anymore. Deku isn't like the positive kind of person. He isn't even negative. He gained power, but at a cost of his own emotions. This is where I'm going to give you guys this idea where he has two parts of him. One that's in control, and the other one that's in his mind. Whenever he's at a point where he's doubting himself, at a point where he's giving up, the other part of Deku, which is ego, which is stronger, which is more cunning and more, how do I say it, powerful, he'll come in and help Deku out. If it means that he doesn't die. Deku really is, he's mentally strengthening himself because he doesn't want to turn into that monster. So, 5 days later, after not 5 days later, 5 days before before school's about to end, Deku has met a girl with green hair, kind of blackish eyes, and a straightforward personality. And I'm just gonna say it's Froppy. It's just her. She is actually from a different clan. She isn't from Deku's family. She's from, how do I say it? She's from a family that's full of assassins. And there was a point in time where, how do I say it? There was a point in time where Deku was, I'm sorry if I keep messing up people. There was a point in time where the family that Froppy was in, which was technically like an assassination family, they wanted to actually, betroth Deku and Froppy. But because they denied that after there was no reason to do that. When I mean no reason, I actually mean there was no reason to get him married at that point. That's what I mean. They denied that, saying that maybe it's not a good idea for now. This kind of got in people to be like, oh, that sucks. We still want to do it anyway. And one of the people that were there said, no, I'm not. No, I'm not going to take no for an answer. So they try to kill. What is it called? They try to kill one of Deku's family members, and the assassin got killed himself. So Deku's family was okay, while Froppy's family was missing a person. So after a while, after everything bad was happening, Froppy's dad says, we're going to kill Deku. We're going to kill the son of Hisashi because of the fact that he didn't want to take in he didn't want to get betrothed to you, I'm going to make Froppy's dad a little bit of a villain in this one. And this is when she has no way of saying yes or no. She just has to do it. So for that time, Deku was, well, he was just doing his own thing. And doing that, Deku got to meet Froppy. And she says that she's honored to meet the next head of the household for the Wrath family. And hopefully they are good friends. Deku says, alright. Now, after a while, Deku was friendly with her because she wasn't doing nothing bad to him at the moment. So, after Deku became, friendly towards her, they started hanging out a little bit more. And after that, they started hanging out even more. Until they became, besties. But she, it's not always a good thing that, to have a friend like that. And what I'm trying to say is, because she knows she's going to have to kill him, she didn't want to think about him. But because Deku is a kind person towards her, she basically says, I'm going to kill you. And I have to. And Deku says, why do you have to do this? And Froppy says, because I have no choice in the matter. And she says that, I understand if you're upset with me, but I still have to do it whether I like it or not. This isn't something that is up for debate. And Deku says that, well, I thought we were friends. And Froppy teared up, saying that she knows. She knows that they were friends. But it's because of her family that, she can't do a thing about it. So, Deku says, when is this going to happen? And she says, it's going to happen soon. I'm going to have to do it. And there's no way you could stop me. And Deku says, well, alright then. If you're going to have to kill me, then I'm not going to let you. And she says, what do you mean? And Deku says, I'm not going to let you kill me. That's what I'm trying to say. And she says, I don't want to kill you. But Deku also says, I understand you don't want to kill me and your family wants to. So how about this? He says that, why don't I talk to your family? And Froppy says, alright. And she says, I left something in your locker. It was going to be a note saying I was going to do this to you and, run away. But I want you to read the message. And this is when Deku says, alright, let's go. So they go into their, they go into their room, they go into the locker room, or they go to the front, and Deku is opening up his locker, and he sees nothing, but Froppy basically stabs him in his back, and Deku sees that it's not like a big knife, but it's a small knife, but it has green stuff on it, and Deku is feeling faint. So, while he's in his little state of mind where he's dizzy, she says sorry, but they're going to kill you one way or another. But in this way, you don't have to die, you know. How do I say it? You don't have to die fighting them and them hurting you themselves. I'll take the blame and you can hate me forever and ever. I just don't want my friend to die to the hands of my father. So, this is when Deku is on the ground and Froppy takes a picture of this, sending it to his father. His father is happy, saying you did well. But unbeknownst to her, Deku knows what her quirk is now. And this is when Deku's body starts to change. And it looks just like how her figure looks. Well, not her figure, but Deku has, like, you know, longer legs, and she's more, he has like a tongue that's very long now. So this is when Deku gets up and says, I'm sorry about this, Froppy, but I can't let you think, I can't let you go through this alone. And Deku just pretty much grabs her. And this is when Froppy says, what are you doing? I thought you were dead. Deku saying, I know. I thought I was dead too. But I thought maybe if I use my quirk and I copy yours, then I could probably change a little bit and see if whether what your poison, whatever kind of poison you had, would have been affecting me if I was a frog. And it turns out I was right. And this is when Froppy says, I don't know why you gotta make things so difficult. This is when Deku says, I know I'm making things difficult, but I can't just let my friend, well, I can't let you just die or get hurt. I can't also let you kill me. We're friends now. And what I meant to say is, like, I didn't mean to say over a week. I meant to say, like, over the past couple of months, they were being friendly towards each other. She just didn't know how to, kill him. But now that, he's alive, she probably isn't going to have a bit of a choice but to do it. So this is when Deku says, alright, Froppy, I'm not going to let you kill me, and I'm not going to kill you. You're going to be my friend, and we're going to be better than this. And she says, what if you can't win? What if everything you do is basically meant for nothing, or all for naught? Deku says, that is true. That is very true. What if what I'm doing is going to get me killed one day? Deku says, it doesn't matter anymore for me. All that matters is my friend being there with me. And something is going on. Something is actually changing Froppy. Remember, she's starting to feel something for him. He's starting to go into her head, and he's actually making it to where he's not trying to control her. What he's trying to do is stop her from, causing herself pain and misery. Deku gets upset, saying, just because you're going to be, just because your family does this to you doesn't mean you have to do what your family says. Your family is your family. but that doesn't mean they have control over you. Don't fall for this, and don't try to kill me. If you need my help, I'll help you. But killing me isn't going to do a thing. You already saw what is happening with me right now. Froppy says, I understand. Now, this is when she basically hugs him. She doesn't try to kill him this time. She's just crying. Because Deku is going to be there with her. And with this happening, Deku is like sighing in relief, saying, alright, so she's not going to kill me. That's good. Now, after that, these two actually have a bond with each other. And not only that, Tokoyami is actually with her, or is talking with her and all that stuff. She's actually hearing about what happened to Deku, and these two were about to have a fight, but Deku says, there's no need to fight. I already solved the issue. And she says, what are you going to do? Deku says, simple. I'm going to marry her. And this is when Tokoyami says, what? I didn't hear you the first time. It sounded like you said I'm going to marry her. And Deku says, yeah, that's exactly what I said. Now, Deku, how should I say this? Deku is like hearing this for the first time. Deku's hearing this for the first time in his mind. He literally said that, and she's blushing. She doesn't actually know what to say, to be honest. Deku says he's going to marry her, and Tokoyami's upset because, you know, she likes Deku. So, Deku says, well, I'm going to go home now. You guys take care. So while Deku was going to his house, he pretty much tells his father. His father says nothing, and he doesn't get mad at him for doing this, because in the very end, it's going to be his choice on who he wants. And technically, it has to be consensual. He's not going to just be like the girl and the girl with the red hair, and then after that, like a couple of soldiers decide to grab her and, you know, patrol them. No. These two, well, technically, Deku starts, you know, talking to his family, and other people hear about this, knowing that the family that, you know, killed the assassination family. Well, it's just a big mumble. It's just like a big compilation of like things bound to go bad. And sorry about that. Things bad that are gonna happen. Now, I'm going to leave it off here. I know if it kind of sucked for a while, but in the next part, it's actually going to be about, you know, the Class 1A and all that stuff, because I'm just giving you what's going to happen and why things are the way they are. So, yeah, hopefully you like it. And I gotta do some stuff right now, and I gotta think about the next God of War video. But, you know, you guys take care. Like, comment, do subscribe to the channel here, people. This has been the Fallout with Fear. Bye.